One brass disc, 25 mm across, will become 350 precisely interlocked components inside this Swiss facility. Certified QZ-N37 brass alloy, exactly 63% copper, 37% zinc, chosen for its machinability and dimensional stability. Every incoming billet undergoes XRF spectroscopy, verifying alloy purity to within 0.01% tolerance before production begins. At 8,000 RPM, carbide tooling removes 12 microns per pass, finer than a human red blood cell's diameter. The main plate must hold flatness within 3 microns across its entire surface, flatter than a human eyelash width. Over 600 hours of human craftsmanship separate the raw blank from a certified COSC grade mechanical caliber. Gang drilling 120 synthetic ruby jewel seats simultaneously ensures perfect concentricity across all bearing housings. Ultrasonic baths at 40 kHz and 60 degrees remove cutting oil residues that would otherwise contaminate jewel seats. Each synthetic corundum jewel measures 1.20 mi plus 0.012 nm. 29 joules per movement bear the oscillator's lifetime friction load. Across 4,200 square meters, 130 specialists work in concurrent processes, not sequential, to maintain 50-unit daily output. At 28,800 vibrations per hour, this balance wheel divides time into increments smaller than 1/10,000th of a second. The Breguet overcoil hairspring, 120 microns wide, must be shaped to within plus 0.5 degrees of target curvature by hand. The tourbillon's cage rotates every 60 seconds, counteracting positional gravity error in the balance wheel's vertical positions. A 40-ton progressive press stamps nickel-silver bridges at 240 SPM, maintaining +5 micron edge consistency per part. Vibratory deburring removes 15-20 microns from stamped edges, creating the radiused profiles that prevent fatigue cracking in service. Exactly 0.003 ml of Mobius 910 synthetic oil, applied with a 0.0 oiler, lubricates each jewel for 5-year service intervals. The Witchy analyzer measures beat error, amplitude, and daily rate in 6 positions. COSC certification requires +4 seconds per day. Every component produced in this facility converges here, a single movement that retails for $50,000 and guarantees a lifetime of accuracy. Annealing at 480 degrees for 90 minutes relieves internal work hardening stresses, restoring ductility before precision machining operations. Vickers hardness must read 75-85 HV after annealing. Outside this range, parts are scrapped before any machining begins. Diamond-tipped boring bars held at 10N preload cut Calais bores to H6 tolerance, a 13-micron total allowable range. Centerless grinding reduces arbor diameters to 0.070 mi plus 0 nm, the pivot journals that ride inside ruby jewel bores. Gear hobbing generates train wheel teeth with a 0.10 nm module. Pitch accuracy of +2 arc seconds governs power transmission efficiency. Air gauging measures pivot hole diameters to 0.5 micron resolution. Contact measurement would risk damage to the bore surface. PVD coating deposits a 2-micron rhodium layer at 10 to 5 mbar vacuum and 200 degrees C substrate temperature, preventing tarnish for decades. Côte de Genève. Decoration requires 0.4 mm pitch parallel stripes. Purely aesthetic, but a Geneva quality hallmark since the 17th century. Polishing compound, 0.25 micron alumina, on a felt buff brings steel case surfaces to raw 0.01 mirror clarity for hand finishing. SEM imaging at 2000x magnification verifies gear tooth surface roughness below Ray 0.4 critical for friction-free mesh under load. The lever escapement must transfer impulse reliably at torques as low as 0.3 micronewton meters, equivalent to the weight of 3 human eyelashes. A 280 mm mainspring stores 28 hours of energy at full wind. Its preset curvature reduces positional stress fractures over a 50-year lifespan. Dye-penetrant inspection under UV light detects subsurface barrel cover cracks. Even a 5-micron gap triggers mandatory rejection. Thermal cycling between 20 degrees Celsius and plus 70 degrees over 48 hours validates that differential expansion between brass and steel components remains within 4 microns. Micro EDM erodes hardened H13 tool steel at 0.02 mm3 MEN using discharge pulses of 2 to 10 microseconds, creating cavities impossible by conventional cutting. Palladium alloyed escape wheels resist magnetic interference, a critical property in a world of ubiquitous electronic devices and field exposure. Anglage chamfering removes exactly 0.3 mm of edge material at 45 degrees, a skill requiring 10 years to master with zero mechanical aid. Perlage circles, 0.8 mm diameter at 0.6 mm pitch, serve functionally to trap lubricant at pivot contact zones on the plate underside. Ruby jewel press fit requires 60-80 Newton press force. Underforce causes loose jewels. Overforce cracks the plate bore irreversibly. Electroplating deposits 15 microns of copper at 2.5 ADM2 for 20 minutes. The adhesion underlayer before lacquer or rhodium top coats. 20W fiber laser engraving ablates 30 micron deep characters, below caseback glass reading depth but above corrosion penetration risk. Cannon pinion press force must reach 12 through 18 newtons. This slip clutch joint allows time setting without disconnecting the gear train. The robot's vision system identifies part orientation in 4 ms, faster than a human blink, and achieves 99.97% correct placement accuracy. Cubits handle repetitive subassembly placement with plus 0.01 mm repeatability, freeing watchmakers for the tactile judgment only hands can provide. 0.8 meter bridge screws are tightened to 0.08 Newton meters, over-tightening by 15% would strip threads in the soft brass plate immediately. UV-cured structural adhesive reaches 25 MPa shear strength in 10 seconds. No heat required, preventing thermal distortion of the calibrated dial printing. Machine Vision inspects 47 critical dimensions per movement in 8 seconds, achieving a false rejection rate below 0.1% per 10,000 units. At 60,000 psi, an abrasive water jet cuts synthetic sapphire, MOS 9, crystal glass discs without generating thermal damage to the optical surface. Sapphire lapping removes 2 microns per minute at 35 N downforce, progressing through 15 micron to 0.5 micron diamond abrasive grades over 90 minutes. Caseback torque of 1.2 Nm compresses the silicone O-ring by 25%, achieving 100 meter water resistance per ISO 22810 standard. Bracelet link rivets are cold set at 4I50 N, enough to permanently deform the 0.9 mm rivet shank without work hardening the surrounding steel link. Milling a case from 316L solid billet removes 73% of the starting material weight, producing a 12-gram finished case from a 45-gram blank. Automated oiling delivers 0.0003 mel per point, 3 times more consistent than human application, and eliminates the leading cause of early movement failure. Industrial demagnetization reduces residual magnetism below 5 amperes per meter. Above this level, hairspring coils can attract, causing catastrophic rate errors. Laser interferometry measures mainplate flatness to 50 nanometer resolution. Vibration from a passing footstep measurably shifts the fringe pattern. Spring bars compress to 60% of free length during insertion. The restoring force creates 8N retention strength per bar against accidental release. ISO Class 6. Clean room conditions. Fewer than 35,000 particles per cubic meter above 0.5 microns. Prevent foreign object damage in open movements. 28-hour power reserve monitoring captures. Amplitude decay curve. Amplitude must stay above 270 degrees throughout to confirm mainspring and train efficiency. 3-stage automated polishing. 320 grit to 3000. Grit to 0.25 micron buff. Achieves the mixed finish typical of luxury sports watches. Crown seals must withstand 5N. Pull without displacement. The primary water ingress path during diving or rain exposure. The winding machine delivers exactly 37 crown rotations to reach 1% power reserve, preventing overwind damage to the mainspring bridle. Grand Fu NML fuses at 830 dig for 90 seconds. Too cool and pinholes form. Too hot and the copper dial substrate warps permanently. 100 simulated lock and release. Cycles verify pallet stone geometry integrity. Safety action must never exceed 35 degrees under full mainspring torque. Correct movement end shake. 0.05 to 0.15 meter. Axial float prevents both binding friction and excessive positional variation inside the case. Dial alignment within 0.1 mm is critical. Misalignment makes hand clearance asymmetric, causing the minute hand to snag the dial edge at positions 3 or 9. Hand setting force must vary from 8N, hour hand on large pipe, to 2N, seconds hand, or 1. Newton's error bends a 0.5 thick hand irreversibly. Minimum hand-to-dial clearance of 0.15 mm prevents contact scratching, less than the diameter of 2 human hairs stacked flat. IDUC standard SH1 shock. Resistance, 1 meter. Drop onto hardwood in 6 positions. Post-shock. Rate deviation must remain below plus. 10 seconds per day. 30 bar pressure testing. Equivalent to 300 meter depth, uses helium as a tracer gas. Its atom is small enough to penetrate seals that would contain water molecules. Modern silicon hairspring watches remain within plus 5 seconds per day after 1 Tesla exposure. Conventional steel hairsprings would lose minutes daily. 48-hour salt spray at 5% nickel, concentration per ISO 9227, verifies that PVD coating maintains adhesion against marine environment corrosion. Synthetic sapphire, Mohs 9 withstands a 3-gram ball drop impact without fracture due to its 400 GPa. Young's modulus and absence of cleavage planes. Crown to tent release at 801,000 gram force. Confirms correct setting lever spring tension. Too light means accidental time set. Too stiff means crown breakage. 100-hour accelerated wear simulation. 120,000 flexion cycles. Replicates 5 years of daily wear. Clasp engagement must not degrade below 15N retention. 200-hour UV. Exposure at 0.89 WM2 simulates 5 years of outdoor sunlight. Dial color delta. Shift must remain below 3.0 on the CIE lab scale. Meta certification requires daily rate within 0 to plus 5 seconds. Across all 6 positions. Positional variation. Exposed by gravity's leverage on the balance wheel. Hairspring isochronism error produces a rate minimum near 23 to a real material. Behavior watchmakers compensate via alloy composition adjustments. Applied dial indices must be vertical within 0.1 degrees and adhesive bleed must not exceed 0.002 visible at 40x but invisible to the naked eye. ISO 764 anti-magnetic classification requires rate recovery within 30 seconds of 1000 AM. Field removal. Silicon hairsprings achieve this. Navarox alloy does not. 2G swept sine vibration at 2200 Hz. Simulates transit and impact loads. Any loose components will rattle audibly. Detected by a contact microphone on the table. COSC chronometer certification. Requires 16 consecutive days of testing. Mean daily rate within 4 to plus 6 seconds. Positional variation below 2 seconds. The final inspection is always human. Automated vision systems catch dimensional errors. A master's eyes catch aesthetic errors machines cannot classify. Each presentation box is made from FSC certified Swiss walnut, individually fitted to the watch model. Packaging contributes 8% of total production cost. Every movement receives a unique serial number logged to an immutable blockchain record, enabling provenance verification for the next 100 years of ownership. The regulator index moves the hairsprings effective length by 0.03 meter per division. Each click shifts daily rate by approximately 1 to 2 seconds. Nitrogen purging replaces oxygen in transit cases, preventing condensation formation on movement oils during 12-hour altitude and temperature cycling during air freight. Each 8-hour shift produces 50 completed movements, every unit representing an average of 9. 6 person-hours of direct skilled labor, a movement returning after 15 years. Requires lubricant replacement and regulation. The base architecture unchanged. Proof of the engineering's 50-year design life. First pass yield of 97.3% means 1.4 movements per shift require rework. Each rework event is traced to root cause within 24 hours under ISO 9001 protocols. This facility ships to 47 countries. Each movement cleared through customs under HS code 9108, requiring individual CITES compliant export documentation. An automatic rotor winding at 720 degree-hour of wrist motion generates sufficient energy to maintain 28-hour power. Reserve indefinitely in daily wear. Every tick of this hand is one oscillation of the balance wheel. 8 beats per second. 691 million beats across 30 years of reliable service.